over the last year or so, as it's happened, more or less every other day, a package appears at my doorstep from Amazon. And I have said to my lovely wife many times, honey, we have many other purchasing options. There's a Target, a Costco, Walmart, down the street, or maybe we just don't buy anything at all today. That latter message hasn't resonated quite so much, but I'm working on it. But the point is that even in the online space, there are many other retailers with names that you've heard of where people have options. Your question, there's so much pressure. We all know how Washington works. There's so much pressure these days to do something about antitrust in response to very populist concerns from all across the spectrum. So we have been giving a lot of thought. What are some things that people who believe in traditional antitrust concepts could get behind? Because it's much easier to be for something as an alternative to what I would say are some bad ideas. I think some of the things that I think people can and should be for are outlined in Representative Buck's third way report. So I think more funding for the antitrust agencies is something that could make sense. Representative Buck and even Chairman Cicilline persuasively make the case that antitrust funding for the agencies has not kept up with the growth in the economy. That's something that certainly could make sense. I also think that Representative Buck's call for more data portability and interoperability among the platforms is something that makes sense. He agrees, as I agree, that it's too early and maybe ultimately will be completely unnecessary for there to be a federal standard. But that is something that could, data portability and interoperability are things that could help improve competition and help consumers in online marketplaces. And beyond that, there are things that kind of people who believe in traditional antitrust concepts have been calling for a long time, and I think would still make sense, like with the repeal of some antitrust exemptions, so that antitrust law can extend to more of the economy, particularly to nonprofits. Nonprofit hospitals are a big source of consternation in terms of healthcare costs. Acting Chairwoman Slaughter of the FTC has called for antitrust law to pay more attention to racial issues and issues of labor mobility. Antitrust law protects all consumers regardless of race or anything else. But there are ways that antitrust law can constructively address those issues, such as with things like occupational licensing and overly aggressive non-compete agreements. So I do think that there are a number of things that antitrust traditionalists can and should be for.